So I let you speak first, and you introduce and all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we're already live.
There you go.
Very easy. Hello, everyone. Yeah, we'll
Hey
be very.
everyone. As you can tell, Marina's not here today. It's just me and Jin Shao. She was not able to make it today, unfortunately. She's well. It's just she had some things to do today that she was not able to make it. So it's just me and Jin Shao today. So
Yeah,
we're going to talk about AI stuff, aren't we, Jin Shao?
yeah, we're gonna talk about all the news in AI. Not all of it. We couldn't follow all of them, but
Yeah.
some
Well, how much
highlights.
time do we have? Come on.
I don't know. Some
Well, I
highlights.
think. Yeah, and if anyone has any questions, please put your questions into the chat. We would love to answer any questions that you may have. And even if there's any comments later on that you thought of, put them in there and we'll answer them in the next show.
Yeah, yeah. So
So what's
what's
the latest, Jin Chao? What did you hear? What's the
uh
gossip?
the latest one? I think not the agent. Sorry, a new model released Claude 3.7. So that's something new. I've been I have been using it a little bit. Um,
What do you think?
it
Before was
has
what, 3.5, right? 3.5 was
yeah,
before?
yeah, the latest not the previous one was 3.5. They have different model within that as well. So 3.5 Sona is the best kind of
Oh, I see. And you have to pay.
multi-talent
Yeah.
kind of, a smarter version of it. And
And
they
you have to pay.
also
So
have
I see here you have to pay because I tried just doing it now and you have to
oh yeah,
pay.
they also have the Haiku. I
Yeah,
call
that's the 3.5 haiku.
Haiku is the cheaper version, which is not as intelligent as Sona.
Yeah,
Sonnet.
it's our most intelligent model yet.
Mm. And then 3.7 on top of that, what changed is basically they have the thinking ability in there.
Oh, okay.
So,
Is that more like the React? Would you say? I
yeah,
mean,
kind of like
not like you see,
the
but
deep kind of thinking.
yeah,
It kind
because
of
it shows reasoning is the one I see a
reasoning.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they call thinking in their website, but yeah, reasoning, but in there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
So you have to pay for the smart one, but not so smart. I'm not going to say any of the other word. The
But then
not so smart.
Claude is very interesting. I think the only different I don't know if they have it or not. Last time I checked, they don't have the kind of web integrated. You can do web search. I'm not sure that's the case now, but it just very it's a pity they don't have that. If they have that now, that would be so much better
Mm,
because the Claude is probably the best in coding. My opinion. My opinion.
okay.
Um,
And when you say coding, are you talking about like Python, JavaScript? What language are you talking about?
Python. I write a lot of
Okay,
Python,
okay.
so coding probably Claude is best compared to DeepSeek. Or I haven't used OpenAI at all for coding, so I lost that access. I don't want to pay API to them.
Well, I mean, the thing is, there's so many out there, and you pay and you
Yeah,
pay, and by the time you know it, I know, like for example, and I think when you look at like ChatGPT, right, to the smart one, I mean, that was the
yeah,
news we saw the other day that they want a PhD level one for 20,000. Well, they haven't announced that. I mean, but that was the rumor. But nonetheless, we saw that there's one for a model for 200 a month. We know
yeah,
that, or
yeah,
the 20, or the free one. So they get the really smart one, the not so smart, and then no smart at all.
yeah.
you know.
We probably just test water. Let's shout it out. 20 grand. See who's got it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh
I
yeah,
mean
I
for
want
20
it. Okay.
20 for 20 grand a month, I'll get. I mean, if someone's willing to pay that, I'll put an LLM together for you. Just contact me.
Yeah. It
you
just
know.
it feels kind of like kind of strategy, right? We don't know how much we're gonna charge it. Let's say 20 grand. Let's see
Yeah.
if we make any waves out there. See who wants this thing. Next
Yeah.
thing you know is everyone is like, what, 20 grand? Different kind of voice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I mentioned that word react earlier, which is the reason and act that it has. We've mentioned it before in previous podcasts like Chain of Thought,
Mm,
where the reasoning is another one as well that you just shows step by step, and then you have the action. But now we're breaking that down into, we're decomposing that a task rather than having a long prompt into
yeah,
smaller prompts, but
yeah,
using agents and
yeah,
have agents for purpose, specific purpose,
yeah,
not just
yeah.
one thing and say, hey, write me a script to build a spaceship, right?
Yeah.
You say, okay, well, you got to break that down into components in different areas and
Mhm.
and decompose that, and then have an AI that would do that.
Yeah, and then that raised a really interesting question when you broken down to small prompts and different agents. And this is another trend now at the moment. I think it just from I think all the developer find it frustrating now too. They decide to do this. It's called MCP, right? It's Model Control Panel. What basically is people are starting writing a platform for themselves to have
Okay.
to have a standardized, basically just a whole lot of package at the backend for connecting to different models. Because when you're writing stuff, if you're using their model's own API, they're different format. Every single one is different format, right?
Yeah.
Output is different, input is different. So this
Yeah.
is basically solve this thing. I know LangChain has packages make it a lot easier for us to code, right? You can just import this, import that, import OpenAI, import DeepSeek, and then they kind of standardize the things. But there's people now just kind of make it more standardized, and what you do is more like kind of a REST API. You
Mm.
request it, come back, all the same format, everything is the same. So it's a lot easier for us to build AI agent or later on just standardizing, So that's the something new I see in the trend at the moment.
So it's
Yeah.
getting like the right person for the right job, based on their strengths. So
Yeah.
let's say they have their own, what's the word, like their CV, and their CV, they say they're good at this or that or whatever, and then we hire that person, this in case the AI, for the right job. But
Mhm.
it's almost like, like you see that control panel is very much like an aggregator, if you will. So you
Yeah.
type in what you want to do, and then it'll say, well, the best model for what you're asking is this, and then routes you down that way. But even if we talk about like the AI agents, right, and we could decompose a problem into, let's say we do, I know a famous example is if you wanted to write a paper. So you need someone to do the research,
Yeah.
you need someone to verify,
Yeah.
you need someone to do the citations, you need someone to read it. So like right now we're talking, and then the overall, let's just say the paper. So that's like 5 agents, right? So
Mhm.
you can say maybe the researcher. Well, maybe who would be good at researching? Maybe it's Claude 3.7, and then citation, maybe
Yeah.
ChatGPT's, for mini or something like that is better, and so on and so forth. Is that what you would be looking at?
Um, yeah, well, this is
Or we're talking about?
the model control panel is more kind of just a kind of request package for request to different one. You can select which one you want, but the input and output will be exactly the same.
Yeah.
So if you coding for, I know this when I was doing with AWS Claude stuff, or if I switch the model to AWS own model or switch to DeepSeek, the request and come back all different. They sometimes within it's just slightly different in the JSON format, which make you really painful. You have to write another function to just handle that. So this is a kind of like package and sitting on top of the code and make it all standardized
Mm.
kind of thing. Yeah, but that will really help later on to simplify with building agents, right?
Yeah.
Because for some of the stuff, you don't need an expensive one. You don't know how
Mm.
much that cloud cost is really expensive. So yeah, so
Yeah, I saw a meme on LinkedIn the other day, and it was, someone using like a classifier to,
mhm,
like a classifier to classify, let's say, in credit card, fraud and not fraud, right?
yeah,
And they're using a transformer when they could just use a simple classifier and machine
yeah,
learning model that you don't need to, it's like it's like you bring, a bazooka to a fist fight. You've just brought
Yeah.
something too much, too big, that's really needed for the task.
Hmm.
And I think that's where specific knowledge comes in, right? Where we need people to help you with that process.
Yeah. I mean, if that's uh, a a process has to be, if that become a product, you're definitely thinking about, okay, let's use a normal machine learning and train it and then put it there or something, just a different
Yeah.
package. You don't need a Gen AI, right? But people might just wanted to test the ideas, or they don't have knowledge of that. They just know Gen AI is a lot easier. Yeah, it's all depends on the cost. Even
Mm.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the coding bit, which kind of bring to the cost side, how to efficiently using those models. I find so there are a couple tools out there for AI coding IDEs basically.
Yeah.
So you can you can describe your ideas, and then they basically start to coding from the start to the end. And
Well, I mean, that I haven't found. I personally, I haven't found one that works from start to end very good
mm,
personally, and I could be wrong, but I mean, like, I use Visual Studio Code, and inside there, like you got Copilot, and at the bottom, I can see in the Copilot, like, is it using ChatGPT, or I could
yeah.
change it to Claude, and it will then use that model. So it's kind of like where the model control panel, as you described there. So. Um, I mean, you're finding success with it. I guess if the question is, if you're finding success, Jin Chao, what are you doing different than I'm doing?
Maybe I'm better English now, finally.
There you go. That's what it is.
So no, so I don't know about a Copilot, but I would like to understand a little bit Copilot. Does it help you to complete code, or does it read the whole code base, or what does it
So
do?
I'm using like Jupyter Notebook, right? And so in the Jupyter Notebook, because you'd have cells, and in that cell that you run the specific cell. So you can select the cell and then say, help me. Like the main one is for me, I use it's like document the code. And the main thing that I put is like document the code in the code, because now
Mm,
it'll make a bunch of other stuff. And do not change the code, because then it will go and change your code. And
yeah.
'cause and then the code doesn't work. And then you're like, okay, what did you do? So, you could then ask it to refactor your code. And when you do your refactoring, which is, improving your code, uh, you can ask it to, it'll show you on the right of the screen of your cell. It shows you like what its suggestions are. And then
Hmm.
you can click accept. And if you do it, will then um, overwrite your code and put
Okay.
the
Okay. Okay.
suggestions in. Um, I haven't found it as good, and probably there's some things I mean, I find it is good for like I said, documentation. I mean, like very specific things that I'm trying. Maybe I'm just doing it very old school in child in regards to like
Mm,
I'm doing my own coding for the most part. But like if there's an error, say, hey, there's an error here. What could that be? um, Obviously when you do you run your cell, it will tell you if you run a specific error where the line is, the error is, but that doesn't mean, there might be something like, how do I adjust this to fix that error? And then you get, different versions of Python libraries. So like, for example, you have pandas
mm,
or
mm.
NumPy, and you upgrade them. And then what command you use, and let's say
Uh-huh.
Pandas 2.2 now doesn't work in Pandas 2.5. And
Okay.
so then you got to go and you got to rewrite it and to make it work. I mean, this is where environments obviously would solve that, where you don't change your environment.
Mm.
But those are the kind of things that I've been using it for.
But does the Copilot complete those tasks, run those commands for you, or
No, if
it
you
don't?
want, I can show you my screen here, and we can have a
Yeah,
look at it if you want
share the
to.
screen, so we can see it.
Let me find a good example here. So let me open a folder. Give me a second as I'm opening that, because we're doing this on the fly.
Yeah, that's
So,
good. I like
not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying, so let's see here. Okay. Well, I've got one here. It's called stock list technical analysis. So I'll go through that. There's no big secret here that I'll be sharing. What this script does for me anyway is it goes and grabs. Let's see here, Alon. Let's see,
Uh,
share screen.
yeah, it don't need
Uh,
to show too many files. Just
yeah.
like
So let's see here. I'm going to share my screen here.
yeah, and
Tell
let me
me.
prove it. Add it. Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
So I'll
Like,
I'll I'll, I'll close this bit of the. So this is one that I have. Like I said, stock technical analysis. So let's say, for example, this cell here, right? So
mm,
I've got some stuff that I don't even use anymore. But anyway, so if we go then to, so normally, and this is my non-work one. So you see they've got this generate here. So you can just click generate there, and then you got your Copilot, and you can see you can pick. So you can pick which one you want.
right. Yeah.
Or you can even do Gemini. So let's say we do the 3.7 sonnet, okay, and just say on the first cell, I would like you to document the code and document the code in the code and do not change the code. All right, so just hit that there. So what is it doing now? Okay, so it's going here normally, and you can see it's going okay. So you can see now it's giving me this here,
Mm,
and it's giving me all the code. Normally I have one, which maybe I know what I probably have to select the kernel first. Let me select my kernel,
okay.
and I can add it over here on the right.
Yeah.
I can open it up, but you can see here, and so you see here I can do, okay, so I can accept and run. So I can say, okay, let's accept that, and there we go. It actually didn't do what I asked it to do, so I
Mm,
asked it to do here. So I can actually go into this cell here, and let's go into hold on a second here. So we'll put in Copilot. My Copilot's not working for me. Normally I would click here on the bottom. Let's see here. I don't
mhm.
see it.
So,
And
is there a window for you to chat with the Copilot itself? No.
it gives me a window on the side here, the side here, which I'm not, for some reason, it's not showing up here for me.
Oh,
Copilot. Hold on a second. Maybe if well, let's see. Give me the same
don't
search
worry.
here.
You see on the top bar, on the top right-hand corner, beside the minimize, that square one? Yeah, that one.
There
There
it
you go.
is. Yep, you got it. One and done. There you got it, Jinshao. So here's where you would ask it, and so you would say cell one, the current. So you would say cell one here. So
Yeah.
I can say again, ask it to document cell one,
Yeah.
document the code in the code,
Mhm.
and do not change the code in cell one. So here we go. It starts working. Now I picked the regular 4.0 GPT. So
Yeah.
here we go. Now it's doing it for me. So you can see here, it gives me everything there. So I can say, yep, I like that. And
Yeah.
so from here, I can do more actions, insert into notebook.
I
And
think
there we go.
Copilot might have the ability to code the whole thing for you, because you see that in the little chatting, um,
Here. Yeah.
right, yeah, you have the Juniper node code selected. If you
Yes.
don't select it or select it as a whole code base, it should chatting to the whole code base?
So I remove that, like you're saying there. So I'm not using that file because
Yeah,
here, we'll use this file
yeah,
here. And I can select here, as we said, the sonnet. And
yeah.
then let's see here. So I can do lots of stuff in here. Now, this is where we've talked before. Is like if
Mm,
I'm doing this here in my computer here
mhm.
for this code, is this actually my code, or who's the IP belong to?
Yeah,
Now, obviously, this here I just use it to document my code. So That way, everything here is now documented, and you know what's for what. But yeah, so this works in there now. This, I can tell you, this one is not free. I pay $10 a month for this, and it's linked to my GitHub. So I'm able to work in that. So you can see here that one looked pretty good. So maybe I can just say that one here. I can move this cell up, or move this one down. Anyway, it's a lot easier to do it inside Anaconda. So I use both. So say if I want to move this cell up. Anyway, so yeah, you can see very much how you can do this kind of thing, and you can see, look, data retrieval, technical analysis. Then I've got my classes in there, my signal generation. I wrote this code myself. Then generates an Excel workbook with multiple sheets. You got your trade, your candlestick patterns, and then momentum list. And you see, you can technical analysis, stock with major indexes, identify potential trading opportunities and signals. So yeah, it actually went and document this. So this documentation is good, but what it did is it documented the entire notebook, where I wanted it just to document here. So yeah, works pretty good. What do you think, Jinshan?
It's good. Yeah, it's good for $10. Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you think about it, just like we saw there, for example, Claude 3.7. If I was to do that, I'd have to pay what, $20. I know if I was using GPT 4.0, I'd have to pay $20. Now, I don't know what the preview means there, and probably most likely means that once you hit a certain limit, it's going to cut off. So yeah, so it is quite good in that respect.
There is two I used. The first one I use something, a pay-as-you-go model inside Microsoft, inside the Microsoft code. So let me show you as well. and then I gave up on that. I tell you the reason as well. Let me share. Can I share a window here or just screen?
If you go to the share from what I present, it'll allow you to present a window or a screen. It's just like Google, when you're in Google Meets and you're sharing your screen, or you can share a window. You don't share the whole thing. I'll tell you when I see it.
I only have a share screen. I don't have a.
When I click present.
Oh yeah. I have to click into it. Sorry.
Into it, and then yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the tool I used at about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I started using it.
Okay.
So this is called a plugin. It's called Claude.
Klein. Okay. Like
Klein?
Calvin Klein.
Kevin Klein.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So what it does is you can talk to the code. If you have what do you call it? You go to some DeepSeek or any places and typing down your prompts, what kind of application you want from the top to the bottom, as detailed as possible. So the mistake I made is a lot of things I didn't describe. Later on, after using AI to add things into it, is a problem. The Gen AI to change your code is a problem. When you create, there's no problem. It come out perfectly. I was surprised.
That's interesting.
So I use Claude 3.5 to do that. Normally the process is here. You get plan and act. So plan is basically you put it in what you want.
Yeah.
And type anything. I wanted to create the stuff, whatever. You go into the DeepSeek, get a long list of the prompt. You tell DeepSeek or any thinking model or reasoning model to says, okay, thinking about this, give me a prompt for Gen AI, and you put it in there, and then it should be able to create a whole code base for you. And then it will tell you to turn into act. Let's just do one, right?
Okay.
And let me select a
Hopefully,
cheap.
this doesn't cost you a lot of money, Jin Chao.
It did. It did at the very beginning. The first app I created using Claude, it was quite expensive. Look at here, and it's very easily ran up. The price gone up because they use a lot of memories. So basically, when they wanted to send the whole code base, they need to send the code you had in other file as well. So a lot of code being sent to it. So that's how they do it.
Mm.
I later on I quickly quit this because the project I have is getting so complex. The code is so much. When you're adding or moving, sometimes you add a move wrong places, so the whole code base is a mess. So I have to manually clean it myself. So that's the tough bit. You have to have at the very beginning thinking about what you want, think as detailed as possible. But that's
Yeah.
hard for other people which doesn't have technical background. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I know
it's kind
exactly
of
what you
hard,
mean.
right?
Yeah.
How do that? So we use a DeepSeek chat, all right? We don't use it. We can use plan model for reasoning. We
Now, I
can
see
use,
that you have the API key. Did you have to put in your own API key,
yeah,
sign up
yeah.
for each
I have
one?
a,
Okay.
I have a,
Okay.
I have DeepSeek API. I have Claude API. All that.
Okay. Okay.
So let's done that now. So I'm going to the plan. Um, let me see if I have any file. Oh, I might need it to open a different folder just to have a new project. So you wanted to keep your folder as clean as possible. Otherwise, it's gonna read all the other files. You don't want the extra token.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I was trying to do a lot of Chinese in there as well. Because token and DeepSeek, trying to understand it. But we can use English. I want to create a simple um, website with Node.js front end and Python Flask API back, and website will be a Salon business. I'm just going with the flow here. Don't ask
I'm
me what
going with the flow too, Jin Chao. I don't know what you're doing. So,
So Salon business
Excuse me.
business page give the give extra information. Give information as you think is right. So this is a demonstration. Normally my prompt when DeepSeek come out is a lot bigger. So let's just plan and see what they come out with. So this is sending to DeepSeek reasoning. The other thing I quit is Claude is too expensive, and one app you're talking about $4 or $5 probably,
Yeah.
and DeepSeek is good, it's really cheap, but the problem is the API is not really good. And it's just really busy during the day. You're waiting a long time for different stuff. So that's the reason I quit.
Okay. Let's do
But
this all in Chinese. My
yeah,
Chinese is not so good.
I have quoted somewhere to speak Chinese to save
Okay.
token. So
All right. Fair enough. Well, I was going to say, your English is better than my Chinese. Let's just go there. Okay.
so you can basically tell you what it looks like, Salon app. This is exactly the format it's going to create.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then
Yeah.
they ask here, do you want it to continue this or change to act? If I change to act now, it will start creating this.
Okay.
So the thinking model, this is under a cent, right?
Yeah.
But the Claude, you're talking about 2 or 3 cents, and probably even more once this thing's going on. So we can turn into act. So
Now, my
it
my
basically,
question is that by you doing like using Claude, DeepSeek versus Claude, because earlier you said Claude was the best coding. So would you then say that which one would, even though it's more expensive, would it be better?
Claude would be better for sure,
Okay.
I think. Yeah, I can auto prove it. So it just I don't need it to put my hands on it. It's just automatically running the terminal as well at the same time.
Okay. So
It
if you
just
go to your folder up there, can we see? So I see now a file's been created. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So if you have some small project or simple code to change, this is a really good thing to do. You can put in a file, chat to it. Sometimes if you use DeepSeek, it might be cheaper than $10, but
Hmm.
I think Copilot does a better job, to be honest. This is people wanted to code things, a complex project. I don't see the use case for this, to be honest. But it's really cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is that's the whole is that's where I think a lot of people have had some questions before from people that watch, our show is like, what are some use cases? Where can I
Mm,
use this in my business? Now, I think, what you're doing here obviously can save a lot of time and hours of, so you're experienced software developer and, I'm experienced data scientist. And so what we know that there's a lot of repetitive tasks that are repetitive. There's the word repetitive,
okay.
and you have to then go and say, right, these repetitive tasks, how can I get them to do that? And then you come in and put it all together. But like you have to critically think what you want to put together and how to be
Mhm.
able to do it. So like if someone doesn't know how to create a Node.js with Flask and Python, uh, they wouldn't even know what question to ask.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. But this is my point. It kind of like the person who will use this is that junior developers
yeah,
or because the person who wanted to make the website, we skipped a step here, right? So normally you explain what you want into a Gen AI, so they will create a prompt for you
yeah,
for to create this. They might that's generally speaking a reasoning model would be better because they were thinking about different components. Is that go with the other one or not? So that would generate a big prompt as a blueprint. You
mm,
copy the blueprint into here, so it will run. It would generate a whole file. So right now we're doing some pip install, and I think it's running now. Let's just check.
no. If you're sharing your screen, all I see is your.
Yeah, I will share a different screen again. If I
Now,
mention,
one thing I was going to say before we go to the other screen there, on the bottom right hand corner, do you see that little icon? It's like a little bell on the bottom far right and bottom right hand corner,
this one.
and the one to the left of it,
Hmm. Oh, this dude.
that's the GitHub or
Oh yeah, I
Copilot.
have it. I just didn't pay.
Right, right. I think if you sign up for 30 days, Jinchao, you can get it for
Uh-huh.
free for 30 days, the first 30 days or something like that.
Yeah,
I know they were offering that back in December. I don't know if they're still offering that, so you can try it out.
yeah. So right now, I couldn't run this. It's not
I
really
see you
running.
getting 404. I see it there on the screen, 404.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So,
so
wait a second. Hopefully, I don't have other project running at the moment. Access localhost. What do you? I have. Wait, sorry. I might have other Flask project in different window here running.
and
So
there's a conflict.
yeah, that could be it. Oh, let's do that. Oh, it's running on low
3,000.
3,000. Yeah. Oh, that could be the backend. Sorry, the backend running. The Flask is running at 5,000. So the page now has no backend. Yeah. Localhost. I'm gonna show you 1 second. I'm just trying to go in there now. Yeah. So, how to start the backend? Start the back end as well. I'm just saving some time. I don't know which folder it created, so I don't know where to run this.
I think someone has just joined us as well. So for those who just joined us, we're using Klein, which Jin Chao is using. The which one you're using Klein, but to create an app in with the front end and back end, and using Flask. And so all of those files on the left that you see that he's created, those are all been created by DeepSeek using Klein. So, and you can select which one you want to use. So he's going to run this now and see how it goes.
This backend running npf start. I think that was the command. And yeah, start in the Salon app. Yep. So it's all in Chinese at the moment. So which
That's okay.
Thought about it.
If we only had someone here who could read Chinese.
I could just say, "Oh, it's working really well."
And then some Chinese comment come on and say, "No."
So window here, this is the one, right? That's the. You even have copyright here. This is the name, and this is booking here. It says service, different service.
Okay. So you were able to create this website within what, 10 minutes?
Yeah, I think I might need to look into it a bit more. How did it run it? Normally, I think I might have some project in my computer, maybe have some conflicts. Normally, you create a kind of virtual environment for the Python at the back end.
Okay.
So, yeah. So what's this button do? It doesn't really do anything at the moment. I asking you, this is your name, where you're putting your name and your telephone numbers, and then the date you want to book. And
okay.
This is nowhere near. This is DeepSeek, right? And I think when you have a bigger prompt, it will come out so much better. This is a kind of very low level.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're doing it on the fly here, right? So I mean, you're creating something on the fly. So yeah, that's not an issue. Yeah, so that's quite interesting. And I think what's interesting as well, Jin Shao, is how you have to be very specific in what you want. And when we talked about prompt engineering and how you want to be as specific as you can, and you have to think these processes through. But I think the going from idea to implementation that cycle is reduced hugely now with these types of tools.
Yeah, but I think the problem with that is still the user, the market, right? Who using this?
Yeah.
So it's not one go, one click solution. Yeah, it's definitely not a way out. If you're building a landing page for your business, yes, fine. There's no function at the back end, really easy, simple, nice graphs and all that is nice. But if you put a logic into it, a functional
or a database
website, right? Yeah, a database is okay, but yeah,
the booking system. There's a lot that can go into a website. That the level of complexity that can get there. But I mean, someone who develops websites that would have taken them, ages to do this, they already know what it needs to go in, and and can type that in very quickly.
Yeah, the other one I use is Cursor. I finally moved to Cursor. Other using that now, I totally don't use the one I just showed anymore.
Okay.
because it's kind of pay as you go. Cursor, you pay $20. Um, it has exactly the same kind of things. You can ask as many times as you want. On the lower model, um, what you do pay, you get 500 replies with Claude 3.5 or 3.7. Those higher model, they actually cost you. So they
Mm.
give you 500. But the 500 is not really each prong. I think is depends on how many file it takes in that question. If you ask for your whole code base, maybe that 500 run out really quick.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
would
I
say
find that.
so. Yeah.
But generally speaking, right, the difference, real difference here is the cursor using using the GPT-4 mini,
Yeah.
and they have the searching internet function, which really helps.
Mm. Okay.
Otherwise, the client we just used, it just use a model. It doesn't have web search. So whatever
It's
the
changed.
yeah, whatever the model has, you're
Yeah,
limited
like,
to.
or even like we talked earlier, like for example, Pandas has gone from 2.3 to 2.5. That, it's been trained on 2.3, so it's going to give
Yeah,
you, it's not going to give you the new stuff. Where if you have the web search, it'll
yeah,
go and grab that recent stuff,
yeah,
and get it going. Yeah, like,
yeah,
get you what you're looking for. Anyway.
yeah, and that makes huge difference because if you wanted to implement something and then your website might come out, you you don't know which package is behind or which is current, and
Mm,
then that's make a whole different when you have complex project. Some of them are very advanced, right?
mm, yeah.
Latest package. Some of them are late, and then you run into this problem. I'm trying to implement uh, something in there, but the model keeps saying this is that. But you go searching online, asking to go search online, and come back with the latest document. You shouldn't install this. You should install something else.
Yeah.
So that was cursor. I think I find that a lot way better than the one we used on complex stuff. And then
Okay.
also it's locked down $20. So
Oh, there it is. Yeah. I mean, that's the main point, right? Because if you're using this, if you're hitting $5 every day,
yeah,
or $5 every query, you can eat up a lot of money very fast.
yeah, very fast. And you frustrated as well. You have to learn how to quit the conversation you have, because all those models basically is had a lot of history in there,
Yeah.
or attach all different files into it to understand the relationship between the files. And if you keep going in one chat so much, it kind of too complex. I find a model sometimes just going in circles. You
Mm,
rather off you have one problem, fix one small problem at a time. That's how you use those things. If the okay, it might seems small for you. Like for example, if you have three files, okay, I want to change value in three files, and then you say also, would you change the front page of maybe a price or a word to a different thing? This seems simple for human being to go through, but you should really like separate those tasks. So tell the whatever Gen AI, the IDE, do those three first, and then close the chat, open a new one, do those one, do the other from page fonts. Otherwise, sometimes they get quite messed up.
So do you think, I mean, I know like on like ChatGPT, I've turned the memory off, but would you think like, I mean, I've seen like where you have to go and very specifically say, don't do this. So what could you say? Don't, ignore everything I've told you before. This is a brand new query. This is what I want you to do, and see what it does from that. That may work. I don't know. Just, throwing it out there that may work.
Yeah, I find time to time in this, I use a lot of chat on the side. I tell him what to do and all those just purely laziness. And then sometimes if I give too many tasks in one go, it kind of messed up. Yeah,
explodes.
sometimes it just halfway through I forgot forgot the second task or
Yeah.
something like that. Um, this is
And
the
this is where
same.
the AI, I was gonna say, this is where the AI agents come in and breaking down the tasks.
Yeah.
That's why it's really important, because, and by doing that, you reduce, I wouldn't say eliminate, but you reduce significantly hallucinations.
Mm, yeah.
AI hallucinations. Yeah.
I definitely do see those used for those um, junior, mid-level, but senior level people who do this on a daily, day in day out is still hard to replace.
Mm.
Yeah, it's good to create something you don't know, and then you start learning from there. That's good. But if it's something you do it every day, um,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to replace.
Well, I think we'll leave it there for everyone. Thanks for joining us. Next week, as far as I know, Marina will be back with us. And goodbye from Jinshan and myself, right? See you guys.
I know.